What's up guys, I am here at Heathrow Airport Terminal 4 in London. Today I'm heading to Delhi in India with Kuwait Airways on board a Boeing 777-300 via Kuwait of course. And today I'm flying in business class. Really looking forward to this flight. Kuwait Airways are an airline that don't really get a lot of coverage here on the web. I'm going to go and try and find out what they're all about. Let's head inside and find out. Kuwait Airways go from Terminal 4 here at Heathrow, and they have check-in desks at the far left-hand side as you go through the check-in hall.
Morning, hiya.
There are dedicated first class and business class check-in counters that come with a really nice red carpet, just to make you feel a little bit more special. Today, however, one of the other check-in agents was free and checked me in down there. After check-in, it was through fast-track security, and I was airside in no time. Kuwait Airways use the Gulf Air Falcon Gold Lounge here in Terminal 4 at Heathrow.
Hello there.
This is a really nice lounge that gives you some great views over the apron and all the aviation activity outside. Apart from that, you get a great selection of food and drink as well. While I waited in the lounge for my flight to Kuwait and surfed the web on the free Wi-Fi, I wanted to talk a little bit about online security. This video is kindly sponsored by NordVPN, who provide an excellent VPN service that I use every time I travel. Browsing the web on public hotspots such as airport lounges, coffee shops and onboard aircraft has inherent risks associated with it. A hacker can eavesdrop over your web browsing and steal your data, which is the fastest way to ruin a great trip. Using NordVPN's VPN service gives me several benefits when I travel. Firstly, it protects my data whenever I'm on public Wi-Fi, in airports, onboard flights and of course in McDonald's. Secondly, it means that wherever I am in the world I can browse the web just like I'm back home in the UK. This means that even when I was sat in the most remote airports from the backwoods of Kazakhstan to tiny villages in the Arctic Circle, I'm still able to log in and catch up with my favourite TV shows from Love Island to the Kardashians and everything in between. Their interface is really simple and allows you to flick between browsing from different countries at the click of a mouse. I've used a few VPN services in my time, and I have to say that NordVPN is honestly the fastest and easiest VPN that I've ever used. They have apps available for Mac, Windows, iPhone, iPad, Linux and even Android, plus a whole host of other devices. Now, I'm not just recommending NordVPN because they're sponsoring this video, this genuinely is a great product that I use all the time anyway. Their 3-year subscription is incredible value for money, and NordVPN have very kindly given 75% off to you guys, which makes it just €2.62 or £2.29 a month. On top of this, they're even giving you a month free. Just head over to the link shown on screen to get access to this incredible special offer. Right now though, back to the flight, and I got a great view of my aircraft arriving inbound from Kuwait. It was time to head down to the gate. Today's ride over to Kuwait is a Boeing 777-300 that was delivered to Kuwait Airways in June 2017, making it less than 2 years old when I flew on it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Kuwait Airways. You're on board. Your flight is now ready for boarding by gate number 2. To speed up the process, we board strictly by sector number. At this moment, we buy passengers sitting from row 34 to...
Hiya, good morning.
I boarded the aircraft and turned right, and got a great view of the first class cabin which features private suites on Kuwait Airways 777. That's definitely one to try out next time, but for now I sat in the 222 configured business class cabin. There's 2 cabins of business class on Kuwait Airways 777s, forward one that has 2 rows of seats, and a slightly larger one behind that has a further 4 rows of seats. The headset was given to me in this lovely plush velvet case. It was also really high quality too. The jet bridge was disconnected, coffees were brought round, and we got on our way towards the runway here at Heathrow. The Kuwaiti 777s have forward-facing and downward-facing cameras as well, so you can get a great view out of the aircraft even when the blinds are shut, as they were later in this flight. Departure today was off runway 27 right, which meant quite a lengthy taxi across the left runway and right the way past the central terminals to the northerly runway here at Heathrow. finally it was time to line up and listen to the beautiful music from these amazing GE90 engines. As we climb out across southern England, let's take a look at our route over to Kuwait today. From London we headed east over Germany and Eastern Europe and down towards Istanbul, where we nearly made an emergency landing, more on that later on. From there it was across the Black Sea and dropping down over Iraq into Kuwait, where we made an approach and landing into Kuwait International Airport. Flight time today was 5 hours and 29 minutes at a cruising altitude of 37,000 feet. We were given menus just after takeoff and the food choices were pretty decent indeed. For the main course there was a choice of chicken cordon bleu, lamb biryani or a prawn masala curry. I went for the lamb biryani, which was really nice, but in hindsight I wish I'd gone for the chicken cordon bleu. I'd planned to take that on the next flight, but unfortunately the choices of food were of course completely different. Now's probably a good time to talk to you about Kuwait Airways and the fact that they are a dry airline. This means that they don't serve any alcohol on board any of their flights. Kuwait is a dry country, and obviously being the national airline of Kuwait, Kuwait Airways follow the same laws as back at home. Personally, I don't really have a problem with this. I'm not that much of an alcoholic that I can't go for 7 hours without having a drink, and they do also have a great range of soft drinks and teas and coffees on board as well. Soon after lunch it was time for one of my pet hates when flying. The cabin crew came around and insisted that every window blind was shut and all the lights were dimmed. This was despite the fact that this was an entirely daytime flight. With the blinds all shut and the cabin in darkness, let's take a quick look around the seat, here in business class on the Kuwaiti 777. Up near the headrest are some seat controls and a lighting control as well. The bed goes into a fully lie-flat position. There's a few reading lights dotted around, and loads of storage too dotted all round the seat. The seats all come with really comfortable bedding that was really nice on the next flight when I tried to get my head down and get some sleep. At the side of the TV screen there's some input ports and a coat hook as well. The TV screen itself is pretty big. I'll go through the IFE system a little bit later on. Underneath the TV screen is a little shelf where the safety cards and menus and things are located. On the right hand side of the seat there is a little table that pops out from the side just like this. I actually quite like the wood effect on the table and around the seat, it makes it feel quite homely. At the side of you there's a little privacy divider that doesn't actually do much to keep you private from the guy at the side of you. For the IFE there's this little remote control as well that you have at the side of you. You can choose to put the flight map on that while you watch TV on the other, or even use the in-flight cameras or things like that. There's the main controls to control the seat here on the right hand side. The bed does go into a full lie-flat position. Remember there is also some on the other side of the seat that you can reach while you're laying down in bed, so it's quite nice that Kuwait have thought about that in this seat. All in all, this seat on Kuwait Airways is really nice and really comfortable. I can see myself sitting in this for even their longest flights that they do from New York across to Kuwait. My only issue really is the lack of privacy from the seat at the side of you. The divider doesn't really do much to keep your seat private from the person sat next to you. I was really impressed by the amenity kits on Kuwait Airways, and these easily rank as the best business class amenity kit that I've ever had. They're made by Christian Lacroix and are absolutely amazing. These things absolutely ooze quality, and especially compared to some of the other amenity kits that I've had, these are absolutely fantastic. Inside the amenity kit there's the usual toiletries, a really comfortable velvety eye mask, a comb and a brush to brush your hair, I'll be using that later, toothpaste, a toothbrush, the usual socks and things, even a shoe horn as well, which is just absolutely amazing, and a little mirror as well for when you're preening yourself up or doing your hair like I choose to do. I'll use that with the brush later. You also get things like earplugs and things in it as well. It is a really well packed amenity kit and it's really high quality as well. About half an hour after the windows were all shut, the cabin crew came round and asked us to open them all again, which was a little bit strange, and I was starting to wonder what was going on.
This flight gets a little bit weird now, so I mentioned to you about them with the whole window blind situation, okay? And within about an hour of takeoff after dinner, probably an hour and a half actually, they came round and made everybody shut their window blinds and turned all the cabin lights off. About half an hour after that, they came around, made everybody open the window blinds and switch all the lights back on again. A little bit strange. Anyway, it's now 3 hours until we land, but according to the flight map, we're landing in 47 minutes. We're over 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, the aircraft will divert now to Istanbul International Airport to take care of the medical case on board. Thank you.
That will explain why. We are doing a medical diversion to Istanbul. Yay! Okay. My first ever diversion on board a commercial flight, so that's why we're landing in 47 minutes. That's why we've had all the lights turned on. So we're off to Istanbul.
We started our descent down into Istanbul and lost about 5,000 feet of the descent before the cabin crew came on and announced that actually now the diversion had been cancelled and we'd be heading straight over to Kuwait as originally planned.
Okay, so recovery of the century. We're now not diverting to Istanbul. They've just come on and said we're now going straight to Kuwait. Okay.
Even Kuwait's economy class cabin looks pretty spacious, and it's in a 333 configuration, which is a lot more space than you get on airlines like Emirates, where you have the 343 configuration and slightly narrower seats.
And the shades are down again. But never mind.
The IFE system on Kuwait Airways is pretty good and has loads of Western TV shows to watch. It seems that they have a lot of stuff from the BBC as well. I ended up watching some of Radio 1's Big Weekend, and even a Take That concert. As we edged closer towards Kuwait, a snack service was brought round, the sandwiches. I always love flying over Iraq. It just seems so strange to look out over a country that's had so many issues over the years and see it straight out of your window, and it is such a stunningly beautiful place as well, somewhere that I'm really hoping to get to quite soon. As we flew down over Kuwait, we flew alongside this Boeing 747 of Lufthansa that was heading to Bangalore in India. This flight was just 2,000 feet below us and was alongside us for the entire length that we were flying over Iraq. As we commenced our descent down into Kuwait, we were played a video about the history of Kuwait Airways. Kuwait Airways does have an awful lot of history behind it. It started way back in 1953. We soon commenced our approach and landing down into Kuwait International Airport and got some great views out of the window with the ships out in the Gulf, as well as some great views from the cameras of our final approach down into Kuwait Airport. We touched down right on time in Kuwait and taxied into the terminal building.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Like most airports around the world, once you disembark from the aircraft on a connecting flight, you have to go through security again to get through to the transit area.
Connecting? Great. Thank you.
The queue for transit security at this time of night was really big. Kuwait Airways have loads of flights coming into Kuwait at this time of night, as well as loads of connections out all around the world. Thankfully, business class passengers were pulled aside and taken through a dedicated security lane, which means I didn't have to stand in the queue. As I headed towards the lounge, the call to prayer rang out across the terminal building. Kuwait is a devout Muslim country, and at the time I flew it was in the middle of Ramadan, the Muslim holy month where Muslims can't eat during daylight hours. Even during the flight, an announcement was made that the sun had set at Kuwait and Muslims may cease their fast. The Kuwait Airways Lounge here in Kuwait is called the Al Mubarakia Lounge. It's situated on the ground floor at the far end of the terminal building from security.
Hello there. Thank you.
Whilst the lounge itself isn't really any match for the bigger Middle Eastern airlines of Qatar Airways and Emirates, I found it still to be really comfy and the staff here were amazing. Of course, because Kuwait's a dry country, there's no alcohol to be served anywhere in the lounges. Again, not much of an issue for me. Like I said earlier, I can manage a few hours without a drink. My visit to the lounge complete, it was time to head to the gate and try and find out where my next flight to Delhi will be departing from. Kuwait Airways have a fleet of Airbus A320s, A330s and Boeing 777-300ERs like the one that we're flying on tonight. They have on order though 15 Airbus A320 Neos, as well as some A330 Neos and even A350s which are due to be delivered later this year. It was soon time to board my second Kuwaiti 777 of the day. Just like the first 777 I flew on over to Kuwait, this one was delivered in March 2017 and is just over 2 years old.
Good evening, how are you? Thank you very much, thank you.
For tonight's flight I was seated in the forward business class cabin which has just 2 rows of seats. I was quite lucky that I had nobody sat at the side of me. In fact, most of the cabin was empty on tonight's flight. Down the back in economy was a different story though, and it seemed like they were really busy on that section of the flight tonight. It doesn't really surprise me because there are a lot of Indian workers that work over in the Middle East and commute backwards and forwards to home using airlines like Kuwait Airways and Qatar. Just like on the previous flight, a really tasty cup of coffee was brought around as we sat and waited for our departure. One thing I really like about the Middle Eastern airlines is the pre-flight prayer that they do before takeoff. Qatar Airways do it as well. I think it sounds really beautiful myself, even though I don't understand a word that's being said. We pushed back from the gate here at Kuwait and headed out to the active runway, and were treated to a fantastic view over the city of Kuwait as we climbed out over the Gulf. As we leave the bright lights of Kuwait behind, let's take a look at our route over to Delhi this evening. Our route this evening wasn't the most direct thanks to the ongoing tensions in the Pakistan area, meaning that their airspace is closed. We headed east over Iran, before heading down over the Arabian Sea, coasting in near to Ahmedabad and then flying north to Delhi. This route added 500 miles to our trip and an extra hour, giving a flight time tonight of 4 hours and 10 minutes at a cruising altitude of 37,000 feet. Dinner menus were handed out just after takeoff, and here's a look at what we had for our choices on tonight's flight. The main course was a choice of a chicken kadai, a grilled tamil with dill sauce or an aloo palak. Again for beverages it was a choice of juice, soft drinks, tea or coffee. Kuwait's 777s do have Wi-Fi on board. Browsing the web was pretty slow as you'd expect, but it wasn't the end of the world, and I was at least able to get text messages and Facebook Messenger and things working as well. Dinner service was started as we headed out over Iran. I went for the grilled hammer, which was actually quite nice. I got my head down and tried to get some sleep, but unfortunately due to the time difference and the fact that I was still on UK time, I didn't manage to get any sleep whatsoever on tonight's flight. It was a really nice rest though, and the bed on Kuwait Airways was really comfortable. I opened my window blind as the sun started to rise in the east as we crossed over India. It was pretty murky down below, but I did manage to get some good views of several cities as we made our way towards the capital of India, Delhi. The views of the ground got slightly better as we descended through the murk, and pretty soon we were on final approach to Delhi's Indira Gandhi International Airport. We touched down on schedule and taxied into the international terminal here at Delhi. My flight from London to Delhi in business class cost me £1,116, or around $1,400 for a trip of 4,671 miles. This works out at 24 pence per mile, which is pretty steep but still much cheaper than any other fares that I was able to find on this route. Overall, I found Kuwait Airways to be an excellent airline. Whilst they're not quite at the same level as Qatar Airways, they still have a solid business class product. The fact that they're a dry airline had concerned me a little beforehand, but actually it really wasn't an issue. I can go a few hours without alcohol, and with the cheap fares that Kuwait Airways offer, the trade-off was more than worth it. I would have liked a little more privacy in the seat area though, and while the lounge at Kuwait isn't bad, it's not to the same standard as other airlines in the Middle East. What do you think to Kuwait Airways? Would the low fares be a good trade-off for missing a glass of wine, and will they tempt you to fly with them over the other Middle Eastern carriers? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget as well to check out NordVPN on the link in the description to secure your internet access wherever you are in the world.
Here at Delhi Indira Gandhi International Airport in India. Wow, what an amazing couple of flights over with Kuwait Airways. They were really good. Far surpassed my expectations at least. Fantastic cruise, fantastic aircraft. The seats were okay, 222, and on the last flight I had just a pair to myself as well, which was really nice. I effectively had a seat and a bed for the entire 4.5 hour flight or something over here to Delhi. So I'm going to head across to my next flight now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think to Kuwait Airways down in the comments section. But in the meantime, thank you, take care, and I'll see you next time here on In-Flight Video.